What if I told you that Marvel's most dysfunctional team of misfits just became better at being a family than the Avengers ever were? No, seriously. The Thunderbolts. Sorry, I mean the new Avengers. Just prove that sometimes the best families aren't made of perfect heroes, but broken people who choose to heal together. And before you come for me in the comments, stick around because we're diving deep into why this ragtag team of former villains and anti-heroes accomplished something Earth's mightiest heroes never could. They became a real, authentic, messy, beautiful family.
Welcome back to the Heroscope.
If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because we're about to unpack one of the most emotionally complex Marvel movies in years. Today, we're talking about Thunderbolts, the new Avengers, and why this team of nobodies just redefined what it means to be a superhero family in the MCU. Now, I know what you're thinking, but the Avengers are a family. They said so in Endgame. And sure, they had their moments. But here's the thing. The Avengers were colleagues who became friends. The Thunderbolts? They're broken people who became each other's chosen family, and there's a massive difference. Let's start with the elephant in the room. What makes a family different from a team? Because that's really what we're talking about here. The Avengers were Earth's mightiest heroes. They were exceptional people who came together to save the world. They were inspiring, powerful, and yeah, they cared about each other, but they were fundamentally a workplace family. Think about it, Tony Stark was the genius billionaire CEO, Steve Rogers was the moral leader, Thor was literal royalty, and Bruce Banner was a world-renowned scientist. These people were successful before they met each other. They had identities, purposes, and most importantly, they had something to lose.
Captain America.
Mr. Lang?
It's an honor. I'm shaking your hand too long. Jeez.
Now compare that to the Thunderbolts. Yelena Belova, depressed assassin who lost her sister and doesn't know what to do with her life. Bucky Barnes, PTSD-riddled, former brainwashed soldier, trying to find purpose in politics. John Walker, disgraced super soldier, stripped of his Captain America title. Ghost, literally dying and in constant pain. Red Guardian, washed-up has-been driving a limo. And Bob? Oh boy, Bob. A bipolar man with childhood trauma and addiction issues who volunteered for human experimentation because he was desperate to feel better.
Grenade! Go, go, go! Get away! Get back!
These aren't Earth's mightiest heroes. These are Earth's most damaged people. And that's exactly why they work as a family. Here's where it gets interesting. The Avengers bonded over shared purpose, saving the world. The Thunderbolts bonded over shared trauma, being disposable. From the very beginning, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine treats these people like expendable assets. She literally sends them on a mission designed to kill each other. Not capture, not arrest, kill each other. She gives Yelena, John Walker, Ghost, and Taskmaster the same target, hoping they'll eliminate one another and tie up her loose ends.
Who else?
And when they figure out they've been played, that's when something beautiful happens. Instead of turning on each other, they turn toward each other. Because they realize they're all in the same boat. They're all people that the system has chewed up and spit out. The Avengers never had this. Sure, they disagreed. Hello, Civil War. But they disagreed from positions of power and privilege. When Iron Man and Captain America fought, it was because they had different philosophies about how to save the world. When the Thunderbolts come together, it's because they realize the world has already given up on them.
I fought an alien made out of black goo once.
Oh, no way. I fought an alien too.
And that shared experience of being thrown away, that creates a different kind of bond. It's not professional respect, it's recognition. They see themselves in each other's pain. But let's talk about the real test of family. Bob Reynolds, aka Sentry, aka The Void. Because nothing says we're a real family like trying to save your most dangerous member from himself. Bob is essentially a walking nuclear bomb with severe mental health issues. The Sentry has the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns, but Bob also houses the Void, a dark entity that represents his trauma and pain made manifest. When the Void takes over, it literally starts absorbing people into darkness, essentially killing them.
Oh, by the way, this is a friend of mine, Tree.
I am Groot!
Now, imagine if the Avengers had to deal with this. What would they do? They'd probably try to contain the threat, minimize casualties, and if all else failed, neutralize Bob. It's the logical, heroic thing to do. Save the many, sacrifice the one. But the Thunderbolts, they do something completely different. When Bob is consumed by the Void and starts destroying New York, when he's literally becoming the monster everyone feared he would become, they don't abandon him. They don't give up on him. They hug him. I'm not kidding.
I choose to run toward my problems and not away from them.
That's what.
The climax of this movie is the team giving their most dangerous member a group hug while he's actively destroying the city. And it works, because that's what families do. They don't give up on each other, even when everyone else would. This scene hits different because it's not about Bob being worthy of saving because he's secretly good inside. It's about the team deciding he's worth saving because he's theirs. That's family love right there. The Avengers would have seen Bob as a problem to solve. The Thunderbolts saw him as a person to save. And that's the difference between a team and a family.
Let's talk about Yelena Belova, because Florence Pugh absolutely nailed what it means to be the emotional center of a broken family. Yelena starts this movie in a really dark place. She's dealing with survivor's guilt over Natasha's death, she has no direction in life, and she's basically going through the motions of being an assassin because it's all she knows. But throughout the movie, she becomes the person who holds everyone together. And here's what's beautiful about it. She's not trying to be a leader like Steve Rogers was. She's not trying to be the smartest person in the room like Tony Stark. She's just trying to be present for people who need her, the same way Natasha was present for her.
Shit! Language.
Watch how she interacts with Bob. She doesn't treat him like a weapon or a threat. She treats him like a scared kid who needs someone to believe in him. When everyone else sees the Sentry or the Void, Yelena sees Bob. That's such a mom energy, and I mean that in the best possible way. And then there's her relationship with Bucky. These two have incredible chemistry, but it's not romantic. It's familial. They're both dealing with guilt over their past actions, both trying to figure out who they are when they're not being controlled by other people. They recognize that struggle in each other.
Always angry.
Well, we're the same, you and I. We're just a couple of hot-headed fools.
Yeah, same.
The Avengers had a leader in Captain America. The Thunderbolts have a heart in Yelena. And honestly, hearts beat leaders every time when it comes to family.
Here's something the Avengers never mastered:
being productively dysfunctional. And I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but hear me out. The Thunderbolts argue constantly. They're sarcastic, they call each other out, they have zero filter when it comes to pointing out each other's flaws. Red Guardian won't shut up about his glory days, John Walker is still dealing with his anger issues, Ghost is literally dying and kind of bitter about it, and Bucky is trying way too hard to be a politician.
Go in and they rip out all of your reproductive organs. They just get right in there and they chop them all away, everything out.
Okay.
So you can't have babies.
You don't have to get so clinical and nasty.
Oh.
But here's the thing, they're honest about their dysfunction. When Red Guardian tells embarrassing stories about his past, when John Walker admits he screwed up as Captain America, when Ghost talks about her pain, they're not trying to be perfect for each other, they're just being real. The Avengers, for all their great moments, always felt like they were performing being a team. They had their roles to play. Tony was the sarcastic genius, Steve was the moral compass, Thor was the godly comic relief. But the Thunderbolts? They're just people. Messy, complicated, flawed people who stopped pretending to be anything else. And that honesty creates a different kind of trust. When Yelena tells the team, "We own you now," to Valentina at the end, she's not just talking about blackmail. She's talking about the fact that they've chosen each other, messiness and all.
We're all standing up now. Bunch of jackasses standing in a circle.
Think about it. The Avengers broke up over philosophical differences. The Thunderbolts came together despite having every reason not to trust each other. That's the power of low expectations and radical acceptance.
Let's talk about something that hits really deep: chosen family. Because that's ultimately what the Thunderbolts represent, and it's something the Avengers never quite achieved. The Avengers were brought together by Nick Fury and circumstance. They were recruited because they were the best options available. The Thunderbolts? They chose each other when literally no one else would. Think about where each of these characters was when they joined this team. Yelena was being used as a disposable assassin. Bucky was trying to find purpose in a world that mostly saw him as a former villain. John Walker was a national embarrassment. Ghost was dying alone. Red Guardian was driving a limo and living in the past.
So I'm saying that I want to be on the team. Has it got a name?
Yeah, it's called the Revengers.
The Revengers?
Because I'm getting revenge.
You're getting revenge, and what do you want revenge?
I'm just undecided.
None of them had anywhere else to go. None of them had other people fighting for them. So when they found each other, when they realized they could be something together, that they couldn't be apart, that bond became unbreakable. And here's what makes it even more powerful. They didn't choose each other because they were compatible. They chose each other because they were all unwanted. That's a different kind of love. That's, I see your damage and I choose you anyway, love. The Avengers were like a group of talented people who learned to work well together. The Thunderbolts are like a group of broken people who decided to heal together. And healing together, that creates family bonds that nothing can break.
Why are you doing this? Why?
We are Groot.
When Red Guardian names them the Thunderbolts after Yelena's childhood soccer team, it's not just a throwaway joke. It's him saying, we're giving you the family name you never got to keep. That hits different than Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Can we just take a moment to appreciate how this movie handled mental health? Because this is where the family dynamic really shines. Bob Reynolds isn't just crazy for plot reasons. He's a man dealing with bipolar disorder, childhood trauma, and addiction, who made a desperate choice that literally split his psyche in two. The Sentry represents his desire to be good and helpful, while the Void represents his pain and self-destruction. And instead of treating this like a simple defeat the bad guy situation, the movie treats it like a mental health crisis, because that's what it is.
Loki will face Asgardian justice.
He gives up the cube, he's all yours. Until then, stay out of the way.
Tourist.
The team doesn't defeat the Void through superior firepower. They don't outsmart it with tactics. They literally love Bob through his breakdown. They show him that he's not alone, that someone cares about him, that he has value beyond his powers or his usefulness. And this extends to the whole team. Yelena is dealing with depression and survivor's guilt. Bucky has PTSD from decades of trauma. Ghost is literally dying and has every reason to be bitter. John Walker is dealing with anger issues and shame over his failures. But instead of glossing over these issues or using them as quirky character traits, the movie shows how these people support each other through their struggles. They don't try to fix each other. They just try to be present for each other. That's what real families do.
Sun's going down. Sun's going down. That's it. Breathe. I won't hurt you. Sun's going down. Thor. Yeah.
They don't solve your problems for you, but they make sure you don't face them alone. The Avengers were great at saving the world, but the Thunderbolts are great at saving each other. And honestly, in 2025, we need more of the latter. When Ghost says she's dying and Red Guardian immediately starts brainstorming solutions. When Yelena checks on Bob after every crisis. When Bucky stands up for the team in Congress. These aren't grand heroic gestures. They're small acts of care that add up to something beautiful. Now let's talk about that ending, because it's brilliant and subversive in ways that I don't think people fully appreciate yet. So Valentina, realizing she's about to go down for her crimes, pulls a classic politician move. She takes credit for the Thunderbolts saving New York and brands them as the new Avengers. It's meant to be manipulative, a way to save her own skin and control these people she sees as assets. By calling them the new Avengers, she accidentally gives them something they've never had: legitimacy, recognition, and a platform to do good. The Thunderbolts go along with it, but not because they're being manipulated. They go along with it because they realize they can use this opportunity to help people. When Yelena tells Valentina, "We own you now," she's essentially saying, "Thanks for the promotion, but we're doing this our way." They're taking the Avengers name and making it mean something different. And that's so perfectly in character for this team. They're not trying to be the next Iron Man or Captain America. They're trying to be the next version of themselves. The name New Avengers doesn't mean they're replacing the originals. It means they're creating something new entirely.
Scott, I need you to be the Ant-Man.
The post-credit scene showing them 14 months later, bickering about copyright issues with Sam Wilson and trying to rebrand as New Avengers because Red Guardian thinks it sounds cooler, that's peak family energy right there. They're not trying to be perfect superheroes. They're just trying to figure it out as they go. And that Fantastic Four tease at the end? It's not just a setup for the next movie. It's showing us that the New Avengers are going to be the ones dealing with the next big crisis. This dysfunctional family is officially Earth's new protectors, and honestly, I think that's exactly what the world needs. So why does this matter? Why is it important that the Thunderbolts work better as a family than the Avengers ever did? The MCU has been criticized lately for losing its heart, for becoming too focused on multiverse shenanigans and big cosmic threats, and honestly, that criticism isn't entirely unfair. When you're dealing with infinite universes and reality-breaking villains, it's easy to lose sight of the human element. But Thunderbolts brings it back to basics. It's about people, damaged, complicated, real people, who are just trying to figure out how to be better versions of themselves. And they're doing it together. The Avengers saved the universe multiple times, but they couldn't save themselves from breaking apart. The Thunderbolts might not be able to save the universe yet, but they've already saved each other. And in a world that often feels broken and divided, that's the kind of heroism we need to see. This movie proves that you don't need to be the strongest or the smartest or the most morally pure to be a hero. You just need to care about someone other than yourself. You just need to show up for people when they need you. You just need to choose love over fear, even when, especially when, it's hard. And that's what makes them a family. The Avengers were united by their mission. The Thunderbolts are united by their choice to keep choosing each other, even when it would be easier to walk away.
He may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy.
The new Avengers aren't Earth's mightiest heroes. They're Earth's most human heroes. And honestly, that might be exactly what we need right now. Let's talk about why this movie hits so hard emotionally, because I've seen grown adults crying over this team of former villains, and there's a reason for that. This movie does something that the MCU hasn't done in a while. It lets its characters be genuinely vulnerable without undercutting it with jokes. When Yelena talks about feeling empty after losing Natasha, when Bob breaks down about his trauma, when Ghost admits she's dying, the movie sits with that pain. It doesn't rush to fix it or make light of it, and that vulnerability creates real intimacy between these characters. They're not bonding over shared victories, they're bonding over shared struggles. That's deeper than anything the Avengers ever achieved.
Just gonna pop out for a moment, pick up the kids, kill the bad guy, and then come straight back.
You're going without me?
Yeah.
The group hug scene with the Void isn't just a creative way to defeat the villain. It's the emotional climax of 6 broken people choosing to risk everything for one broken person. It's saying, your pain doesn't make you a monster, and we're not going to let you face it alone. That moment works because we've spent the entire movie watching these people slowly open up to each other. We've seen them go from suspicious allies to reluctant friends to chosen family. So, when they literally embrace Bob's darkness, we believe it because we've seen them embrace each other's darkness throughout the film. And that's what makes this team special. They're not inspiring because they're perfect, they're inspiring because they're imperfect and they're trying anyway. They're showing us that healing is possible, that redemption is possible, that family can be built from the most unlikely foundations. The Avengers made us believe in heroes. The Thunderbolts make us believe in ourselves, and that's a different kind of power entirely. So, where do we go from here? What does this mean for the future of the MCU and these characters? Well, we know the new Avengers are going to be dealing with the Fantastic Four's arrival in the main MCU timeline. We know they're going to be part of the upcoming Avengers movies. And we know they're going to have to navigate being public heroes while still being the same messy, complicated people they've always been.
The truth is, I am Iron Man.
But here's what I'm most excited about. This movie has proven that you can tell deeply emotional, character-driven stories within the MCU framework. You can have superhero action and genuine human drama. You can have humor without undermining the emotional stakes. The cast chemistry in this movie is incredible. Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, David Harbour, Hannah John Kamen, Wyatt Russell, Lewis Pullman. They all feel like they've been working together for years. There's a lived-in quality to their relationships that makes everything feel authentic. And I think that's what the MCU has been missing lately. Authenticity. These characters feel real in a way that a lot of recent Marvel characters haven't. They feel like people you might actually know. People who are dealing with real problems in addition to the superhero stuff. The fact that this movie has an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 95% audience score tells us that people are hungry for this kind of storytelling. We want heroes who feel human. We want families that feel real. We want stories that acknowledge that being broken doesn't disqualify you from being heroic. And if the new Avengers can maintain this energy, this authenticity, this genuine care for each other as they move into bigger and more cosmic stories, they might just save the MCU's soul in the process. So to answer the question I posed at the beginning, what makes the Thunderbolts the family that the Avengers could never be? It's not about power levels or saving the world or being the most competent heroes. It's about choice. The Avengers were brought together by necessity and held together by duty. The Thunderbolts chose each other when no one else would, and they stay together because they genuinely love each other.
It broke my heart to put that tumor in her head.
What?
This movie reminds us that families aren't perfect. They're messy and complicated, and sometimes they drive you crazy. But they also show up for you when everyone else walks away. They see your damage and love you anyway. They help you carry your pain so you don't have to carry it alone. And maybe that's what being a hero really means. Not saving the universe, but saving each other. Not being the strongest or the smartest, but being the most human. The new Avengers might not be Earth's mightiest heroes, but there's something even better. They're Earth's most real heroes. And honestly, that's exactly what we need right now. What did you think of Thunderbolts? Do you agree that they work better as a family than the Avengers ever did? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more MCU analysis.
I have a plan. You've got a plan. Yes.
Also, let me know what other MCU teams or characters you'd like me to analyze. Should I do a video about why the Guardians of the Galaxy work so well as a found family? Or maybe break down the family dynamics in the X-Men movies? The possibilities are endless. Thanks for watching, and remember, you don't have to be perfect to be heroic. You just have to care about someone other than yourself. Stay awesome.